Over the past 13 days, Iran has repeatedly claimed 5 separate times that it struck the USS Abraham Lincoln, a nuclear-powered Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. To put this ship in perspective, the Abraham Lincoln is essentially a floating city. It carries around 5,000 sailors, 70 aircraft, 4 catapult launch systems, and 2 nuclear reactors producing enough electricity to power a mid-sized American town. Its construction cost about $9 billion, and the air power it carries on its flight deck exceeds the entire military capability of most nations. Yet each time Iran claimed a hit, the U.S. military responded with the same statement. The missile attacks were false, the ship was unharmed, and flight operations continued as normal. By the 7th day of this conflict, the Pentagon went a step further. It released photographs showing the Abraham Lincoln underway in the Arabian Sea, planes on deck, crew at their stations, performing exactly what an aircraft carrier is built to do. The message was clear. The ship is here, fully operational, and Iran is lying. Iran's response wasn't a retraction. 4 days later, it claimed again that the carrier had been struck, repeating the assertion even after that. This is the information war happening within the broader conflict, and in this battle of narratives, both sides have strategic reasons to obscure the truth. For the U.S., the Abraham Lincoln must remain untouchable, not just because a confirmed hit would be a strategic blow, but because the symbolic value is enormous. The carrier is the ultimate representation of American power at sea. When crises arise, the first question every president asks is, where are the carriers? If a single carrier could be damaged or forced to reposition by a country whose conventional navy has been decimated in 2 weeks, the entire framework of U.S. maritime dominance, built over decades, starts to look very different. Not broken, but vulnerable. Iran, on the other hand, needs the Abraham Lincoln to appear vulnerable, not necessarily to destroy it, but because the claim itself creates consequences. Every time Iranian media publishes a headline or the IRGC issues a statement claiming a hit, oil traders react, shipping companies reconsider routes, and Gulf states adjust their public positions ever so slightly. The perception of risk changes behavior. In this tug-of-war between U.S. imperviousness and Iranian threat projection, a more consequential reality is unfolding at sea, one neither side openly acknowledges. While headlines focus on the Abraham Lincoln, a parallel naval campaign has been quietly devastating. On day 13 of the war, 6 commercial vessels were attacked in a single 14-hour window across the Persian Gulf, from the entrance of the Strait of Hormuz to Iraq's Basra oil terminal. 2 of these ships were fuel tankers within Iraqi waters, hit by explosive-laden drone boats guided directly to their hulls. 1 crew member died, and 25 were rescued from the water. Fires raged on for hours, forcing Iraq to suspend all oil terminal operations. Not one of the 6 vessels was military. All were commercial ships, the lifeblood of global trade, through which roughly 20% of the world's daily oil supply flows. These attacks weren't carried out with missiles or long-range rockets. They came from small, remotely guided, explosive drone boats, cheap, hard to detect, and expendable. Technology like this was used by Ukraine against Russia's Black Sea Fleet. On day 13, Iran deployed them across 200 kilometers of critical Gulf shipping lanes, the largest maritime assault since the war began. Meanwhile, Donald Trump had told the world that Iran's navy was destroyed, that it posed no threat at sea, and encouraged civilian tanker captains to show courage and sail through the Strait of Hormuz. Yet on the very same day, 6 ships were attacked, not American vessels, but civilian ones, demonstrating the risks of ignoring reality. To understand why these drone boat strikes matter as much as a ballistic missile attack, you have to understand the geography of the Gulf. It isn't open ocean. At 990 kilometers long and only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz, it's shallow, heavily trafficked, and nearly enclosed. U.S. carriers are designed for open waters, where maneuvering space and standoff distances allow for defensive operations. In the Gulf, these advantages vanish. Attackers have options, defenders are predictable, and the routes and choke points are fixed. The distance between Iranian shores and a tanker in the shipping lane can be measured in minutes, not hours. Iran's conventional navy, frigates, corvettes, and other surface combatants has largely been eliminated. More than 30 Iranian warships were sunk in the first 2 weeks of Operation Epic Fury. Iran's naval headquarters was struck. Its drone carrier, the Shahid Bahari, a 40,000-ton converted container ship and its most significant asset, was destroyed on video. American commanders declared it the end of Iran's navy. But Iran never relied solely on its conventional surface fleet. Mines, drone boats, coastal missiles, and small boat swarms are the backbone of Iran's strategy. They were never secondary systems. The visible fleet was always meant to absorb American attacks, while the real threats remained intact. By day 10, American intelligence confirmed that Iran had begun laying naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, prompting the U.S. to destroy 16 mine-laying vessels. But sinking a ship doesn't remove the mines. They remain in the water, invisible to conventional navigation, creating uncertainty. 7 of the world's largest maritime insurers even withdrew coverage for Gulf transits, not because mines were confirmed, but because the risk alone made passage financially untenable. This is Iran's strategy in one sentence: make the cost of navigating the Gulf unknowable, and the ships stop moving. Iran continues selling oil via back channels to China while official routes remain restricted. Global shipping slows, tanker captains hesitate, and yet Iran's revenue grows. The asymmetry is stark. The U.S. is spending roughly $900 million per day on Operation Epic Fury, using up decades of missile stockpiles, losing aircraft, 1 tanker crew, and imposing the largest oil supply disruption in modern history. Meanwhile, Iran keeps producing and selling oil, sanctions be damned, and the strategic petroleum reserve is finite. Its ability to hold prices in check will run out before the conflict does. In this context, Trump encouraged civilian captains to show guts without sending a carrier strike group to escort them or demonstrating safe passage through the mined and drone-filled Strait of Hormuz. On the same day, a drone boat struck a fuel tanker in Iraqi waters. 1 crew member died, 25 survived, and fires burned for hours. The information war around the Abraham Lincoln obscures this reality. The carrier is intact, operating in the Arabian Sea, but the Gulf remains extremely dangerous. The carrier has not been hit, but it isn't clearing mines or escorting tankers through Iran's choke points. That responsibility is unaddressed. The combination of drone boats, mines, and coastal defenses means the U.S. can project power without actually controlling the strait. Despite claims of Iran's navy being destroyed, shipping remains highly vulnerable, proving that the real lesson of the conflict is not about conventional naval strength, but asymmetric strategy. Drone boats are cheap, small, and deadly. They strike at the waterline, the most vulnerable point of any ship, require no crew, no aircraft carrier, no headquarters. Iran has all the tools it needs to continue these operations, regardless of sunk frigates. 6 commercial ships attacked in a single day was deliberate, sending a signal to insurers, shipping companies, port authorities, and oil traders that navigating the Gulf carries unacceptable risk. Brent crude has spiked, inflationary pressures rise, and global economic forecasts worsen, all before accounting for these ongoing attacks. Iranian oil continues flowing through China, bypassing sanctions, while the world's commercial shipping hesitates. The sanctions framework that was supposed to cripple Iran has, for now, strained the global economy more than Tehran. So yes, the Abraham Lincoln is fine, but it isn't in the Strait of Hormuz. It isn't clearing mines or escorting tankers. It is operating safely in the Arabian Sea, striking Iranian military targets, doing what aircraft carriers do. But it is not asserting physical control over the Gulf's most strategically vital waterway. And while the U.S. projects power, Iran's asymmetric tactics keep the strait effectively closed. The Abraham Lincoln remains undamaged, yet the Gulf remains deadly. Iran has not sunk the carrier, but it has made shipping perilous, proving that the real story of this war lies between perception and reality. 1 drone boat, 1 tanker, 13 days into the war, 1 confirmed death, 25 rescued, fires still burning, and the lesson is clear. Conventional naval victories don't guarantee control. In the Gulf, asymmetric strategy rules, and the water tells a story that no information war headline can fully capture.